because it's 150 million degrees in Arkansas right now. That's fine. Okay. Hello, my living whole friends. We are back. I am not, for once, in my bedroom filming. Can you believe it? I was finding that it was really comfortable to film up there, and I hope the audio is okay in here. I love my kitchen, but it is not like the Instagram light, bright kitchen. It's very earthy, and it's just very wood, and it's a little bit darker, so it's harder sometimes to film in here just because it's more of a darker light and warm undertones, and it's not like that bright white poppin' kitchen. But I love my kitchen. As you can tell, today's video is you are going to kind of see my process when it comes to meal planning. I find that for effective nutrition throughout the week, it's better to basically have a plan. You plan for success, or otherwise you're just eating the rest of the week. So make a good plan. And so that I have, through the many years of creating meal plans, adhering to a meal plan, following macros, eating intuitively, I have found certain things that really work for me. And when I give these tips and tricks and just hacks, I hate the word hack, that's a very aggressive word, but these tips to my clients, that they're like, oh, never thought about that. Whereas it just seems so simple to me, and it's because I've been doing it a long time. It was a trial and error, learn as you go, so we're all gonna kind of learn from each other through this YouTube journey, and that's the whole reason why I embarked on making videos again and trying to be organic for just, here's Sarah, here's my life, and not the perfect branded version of Living Whole. And so it's been kind of freeing to embrace myself, embrace just this and the busyness in between, and the struggles, and also the successes within that. So I'm kind of on a long story short, because we all know that I like to ramble, meal plan with me today. On a side note, I am going to be doing a 7-day plant-based solution with Dr. Joel Kahn. I love his research. I think very highly of him, Dean Ornish, Dr. Michael Greger. This is where a lot of the evidence-based and the research that has kind of spurred this plant-based lifestyle for myself in the way of a whole food, plant-based, cruelty-free lifestyle. It's the research and the ethics that really spurred this. And now, anecdotally, after doing this for several years, it's the way I feel. And so I have a ton of cookbooks. I love recipe books. I'm in the process of writing one with some added things in it as well. I'll go more in depth on that with my video. If you're looking for a resource, a book to get you started, besides Dr. Michael Greger's How Not to Die, this is also one that you should definitely check out in the pursuit of knowledge and why you should pursue a whole food plant-based diet. Now, am I 100% whole food plant-based? No, I am 100% plant-based, but I do like my occasional Beyond Meat burger, Beyond Meat brat, mac and cheese by diet, those foods in very small amounts in moderation within my normal life. And so as summer is wrapping up, I kind of want to clean things up again, because there's a lot of summer foods that, I mean, barbecue, as far as plant-based vegan barbecue, that I like to make and I like to enjoy. It's time to clean it up a little bit. And so that's what I'm doing here. So let's get into this video. So step number 1 is to spend a little bit of time each week finding recipes, finding a little bit of inspiration past just your normal go-tos. If you're completely happy with eating the same thing all the time, which I am for lunch meal preps and things like that, but during the week I like to have a variety, and I like to have different recipes and different tastes. And so that satisfaction that you get in just creating a little bit of time. So spending this time may feel like an indulgence. It may feel like, oh, I don't have enough time, but if you prioritize just a little bit of time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to plan 1 or 2 new meals that can become a tool in your weekly eating, that's an investment in you and your family for better nutrition. So my tip number 2 is to create a simple space to where you keep these recipes, where you plan them. Whatever you do to create your meal planning and your process, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be hard. So for me specifically, I have this comp book where I keep a ton of information in planning, and if I have this readily available, I know this is going to be my go-to for the week, or I have my little green notebook right there that I will keep and just pull from during the week. So keep it simple. If that's in your phone, in the notes section, go for it. Whatever's easiest. I have, when these 2 notebooks haven't been available, I will, under my daily planner, I will put in, okay, I've got these 3 meals. This is what I'm going to do. If I know that they are go-to meals, and I typically have all of that on hand in my fridge. So create a space to save your recipes, to save your plan, but keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, because that creates tension from starting the task or starting the planning to the success of completion or adhering to that task or that meal plan. Next, guys, it kind of seems a little bit kind of simple. I don't know if you would call that simple, but the other thing that I do is I ask my husband, what do you want to eat this week? So I have at least a little bit of input. You can do this with your kids. Maybe make it a kid-friendly night where they know that they have helped plan that meal, and it gets them in the kitchen. It gets them talking about nutrition. But ask your partner, ask your family, what do you want to eat this week? I also do this when I know that I've had a super busy last week. I am decision fatigued, where I've made a bunch of decisions. I just don't know even what I want to eat. So just tell me what you want to eat and I'll make it. It seems a little harsh, but that sometimes is the truth. And it can also be a tool, just asking for input. So that's another tip. If you're running out of inspiration, if you're just like, I don't even know what you want to eat, ask, communicate. So I really love to cook for other people. And for me, this step, as much as it is a prevention of decision fatigue and just telling me what you want, it's also, I get a lot of satisfaction from making meals that people love and they really enjoy. And so yeah, if you are the same way, pocket this and just ask. My other tip is to keep a meal journal. Now, I did not do this before I started my business, before I started recipe development. This wasn't something that even crossed my mind. I have found that as I recommend this to clients, it's something that kind of is a game changer. So keep a food journal or a meal journal of the things that you create that you may have been really inspired, you have tried something new and it turned out friggin' fantastic. That in itself is a meal that you can look forward to, that as you make that meal and with a little bit of practice, it becomes quicker, it becomes more efficient in the kitchen, and it becomes a brand new staple of something that you love to eat that is easy to meal plan. So I highly recommend keep a meal journal. Part of my living whole journey and part of writing the book that I am has been based around this meal journal and creating the most cost-effective, the most meal efficient, time efficient ways to have nourishing foods that are centered around a whole food plant-based diet that are also have a little bit of southern flair to them. So I have a whole subsection of those, but it's something that I keep. So I kind of use both of these. I'll use this as a meal journal, take notes, maybe pocket the recipe or put where I have stored that recipe, if it's in the comp book, if it's in the green book, and maybe minor adjustments. But within this book, I have at least, I think it's almost 9 months in this composition book alone as far as meal planning and those recipes, and kind of it allows me to look back on what I've meal prepped, what worked, what didn't, and even so much as, because I run a business and because I do blog posts and different videos on those meals, I actually have a chronological kind of record or diary of that process. So even for perspective, this has been a huge tool in utilization and organization. So start a meal journal and keep it simple. It doesn't have to be hard. All of it can be kept in one book. 10 years from now, when I have these cataloged and like yeared and stowed, I guess, or when I die, as morbid as that sounds, someone can look back at this and kind of see My Whole Life is Your Whole Guide to Health to some degree, or just have a picture of me. So this is kind of in a reaching and grandiose way. This is kind of a legacy in a way. Not really, but it makes me have a pen to paper account of not only the fantastic meals that I've made, but also just life. So anyway, that got pretty deep pretty quick, and I didn't mean for that. All right, guys, so the next tip, it has to be start a calendar. So I do this month by month. You can do it in your Word or your Excel of those meals. And so find a blank one because that's got a lot of information on it. Let's see. Okay, so November, I am planned out through October. But November 2019, this is easy to print off via your Excel, via your Word program, whatever. I print this off and I'll keep a little tiny kind of penciled note of it. It also has correlation with health topics, whatever content that I'm creating. If you have a full month, let's say you have kids and they have baseball games, your husband has a CrossFit or a race or a marathon or something that he's planning for, or even you yourself, you can set those milestones within this and not only plan nutritionally what you're going to eat, but also plan nutritionally what might be the focus or the goals that you have in mind, if it's weight loss, things like that. So you could probably just do this for your meal planning or just the notebook. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. So really, all in all, you need to get inspired, look at recipe books, if it's Pinterest, however. Keep it simple in your planning, whether it's a notebook or a full calendar, but keep a meal journal as well. And that kind of could be within wherever you keep your recipes. Another thing that you can do is go with a theme night. So maybe you do a Taco Tuesday, or you know, soup and salad on Saturday, just something simple. You can make it a theme night. That way you always know, like, Friday is our fun going out night. So we're gonna try the newest restaurant or go to our favorite restaurant. And that kind of helps create and cultivate a sense and organization of meal planning. The next thing that is very important is choose a shopping day, choose a shopping list, whatever style, if it's on your phone, if it's pen to paper. I personally prefer pen to paper. I like to scribble that off and see that, just that black line through that. Anyway, if you create a day within your schedule that is time blocked off, that is non-negotiable to some degree, it sets that premise that this is my day, this is when I'm going, and this is my list. So what I personally like to do is Friday morning. Friday's kind of the day where I know, like, the fridge is about done, so I need to plan for next week. Friday morning, I like to sit down, pick a couple recipes, or make whatever plan that I'm doing that week for Kevin and I, and set that morning. And then my shopping day, it's typically, depending on the schedule for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, will be an early morning before anybody else gets there, shopping time. And this will be Saturday morning or Sunday morning. And those are the days that I like to go because there are less people if you go early. If you're past that, like, 10:30, 11 o'clock mark, it's the weekend crowd and it's crazy. But that early on a weekend, it's also kind of dead because people are just, like, either tuckered out from a crazy Friday night or they're done for the weekend and want to sleep in. So you miss all that traffic and you can go and shop in peace. And it's nice. And I like that time in the morning to shop and to walk around the store. I want to peruse, I want to read labels. And even though I have my go-to things that I always buy and I know exactly, like, I need greens, beans, almond milk, coffee, there are other things that maybe I'm inspired with a new dish that I need to hunt down a different ingredient, or if they don't have that ingredient, what can I find or think about in that process to kind of have as an alternate or as an alternative. So that's my favorite time. The other thing when I meal plan is I make sure that I have a loose plan for leftovers. So depending on how the recipe turns out, if it's like, holy moly, this is a ton of food, I already have been thinking about when I plan that recipe, or if it's one of my go-to recipes, I know or think I kind of know what I'm going to do with those leftovers. Is it going to be a wrap? Is it going to be a soup? Is it just rice and beans and stuff left over that I can throw into enchiladas or tacos? Have a plan for your leftovers, so by the next day or the day after, you're not like, oh, I gotta throw this food out, which is contributing to food waste. So not only are you decreasing food waste, but you're also kind of being more budget friendly, because you have, oh, I have lunch the next day, or I'm gonna use those leftover potatoes for veggie hash in the morning, or a tofu scramble, things like that. So you have that plan for those leftovers. Easy peasy, right? So you have that plan for those leftovers, and it's just, you know what you're doing. The other thing that I like to do is, if our Saturday or Sunday is not too crazy, because you think about most people meal prep on a Sunday. That's like your down day, your rest day, you're getting geared up for the week. I will either meal prep on like a Saturday right after we've gone to the grocery store, or I'll do that on a Sunday. So if you prepare some of that food, if you're meal prepping for like bulk rice or bulk roasted veggies or anything like that, then you already have those in the fridge in a container. And so as a part of your meal plan process, you know what you have readily available, and you don't have to carve out extra time. The other part of an effective, or what I have found to be a great process within my meal planning, is I keep my pantry stocked with the staples that I know that I'm going to use throughout the week. And so these are also staples that are interchangeable. So if I'm doing something with a base of rice and I'm like, oh, I'm out of rice, but I have quinoa, there you go, or millet, or different things like that, that you know that you have those staples that are easily interchangeable or can elevate a meal, allow your meal plan to move forward, because you're not out of cumin or chili powder, so you can't make your 3-bean soup or chili or whatever. Like, you have what you need to prepare those meals and to make your actual meal plan process move forward. So as much of a part of a proper meal plan process, you have to keep your pantry stocked. That is my meal plan process, my tips, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Unless you learn from the people around you, or you seek out the information when you find that you're struggling, it's not always inherent. And so I'm here to try to help you guys as much as I can, and I also learn from you. So as much as I'm here to, you know, show you my process, and my whole life is your whole guide to health, I'll get Facebook messages, Instagram DMs on my thing saying, hey, I just watched your video, have you thought of this, or I do this, and I'm like, I like that, I'm gonna pocket it. Thank you for watching this video. I really want to know what you guys think about this. Do you guys have any other meal plan tips, meal planning processes? Because I still think that even though I'm pretty good at what I do, I can always be a lot better. So again, thank you guys. This Living Whole community is growing. Christmas is going to be here before we know it. Halloween stuff is already out, and I'm like, what is this? Anyway, I'm going to get back to working and probably make some dinner here in a bit after I drink my coffee. Because it's 4:32, I'm gonna be up till midnight because I had coffee too late, but that's fine.